areas where they intersect, and those are called areas of confluence of support or resistance. And then it's really just a matter of watching for buy or sell signals from those areas. And here's a great example of one that I commented on a while back. And you'll notice that we have this trend line here, and we also have a horizontal level. The third thing, now for confluence, all we need is 2 levels. So those 2 would have been enough to create this area of confluence. However, in this case, we also had this ascending channel. And what was great about this setup, and I actually shorted this market to the downside on a break below this level. But what's great about this kind of setup is that no matter what the market does, you can trade it. All right, so if it comes up here into this area, we can look for sell signals. If it closes below this level, we can look to sell. And alternatively, if the market comes up here and closes above this area of confluence, then we could have a potential long opportunity on our hands because the market is breaking out from this area of confluence. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the chart now, and I'm going to show you an example that also occurred on the British pound versus the Japanese yen. All right, so we're back to the chart now, and I'm going to pull up the daily chart of the British pound versus the Japanese yen. And the setup I'm going to look at right now is this bullish pin bar right here. And if you're not familiar with the pin bar, it's okay because I'm going to cover that in one of the next few lessons. But right now, what I want to draw your attention to is we had this horizontal level right here. And if I scroll back, I can actually see where the market made this high back here. And it doesn't touch it exactly, but it's within that area. So this would have been one that I wanted to watch. And we had this bullish pin bar. Now on its own, this would have been a decent setup, right? So we're talking about this bullish pin bar. And the reason it would have been a decent setup is because we had this horizontal level. And if we do a proper analysis here, we can also see that this market was in an uptrend, right? It's making higher highs and higher lows. But there was also another level here that we could have traded off of. All right, so if I come back here, there was actually a trend line. And now, obviously, we wouldn't have seen any of this at the time. Okay, all we would have seen were those 2 touches and this horizontal level. Now, when this bullish pin bar formed, all right, we would have really honed in on this area because, again, we have this intersection right here, which is a confluence of support. So this bullish pin bar became a lot more appealing because we have an uptrend, we have a horizontal level, and we also have trendline support. Now, in hindsight, just to show you how this level actually affected the market afterward, we can see that it played a critical role in the reversal over here, where the market tested it here, here, and a few times just before it broke down, and then retested it as resistance. All right, so, but again, you know, the key here is to focus on these areas that intersect because you're going to find some of the best opportunities with the highest percentage of success. Okay, so this bullish pin bar would have been one that I would have traded because it formed during an uptrend and also at a confluence of support. Okay, so next up is a topic that I get asked about quite often. It's probably one of the most common questions I receive, and that is, how do we tell when a trend is about to reverse? And the first thing I want to say is that it's not our job as traders to know what's about to happen. That's true for the direction of the market, as well as the buy and sell signals that we look for. So when we talk about trend analysis, it really comes down to figuring out what's likely. Is the market likely to reverse, or is it likely to go higher? And there's a few different ways that we can identify that. But first, I do want to talk about a few of the various trend lengths. All right, so it's important to understand that there's 3 different types of trends. First off, we have a long-term or secular trend, and that's one that lasts for 5 years or longer. Next up is intermediate or primary, and that's a trend that lasts for at least 1 year. And last but not least, and this is the most common,